Imagine this. You're trying to get to work, but you are just completely stuck in a sea of cars, buses, and auto rickshaws. The sound of horns is just this constant drone. Sound familiar? Well, it's the daily reality for millions in India's booming cities. The country's urban population is absolutely exploding, and its transportation infrastructure is, well, it's straining to keep up. But what if there was a better way? What if India could leapfrog the old problems and build a system that's smarter, cleaner, and way more efficient? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into.
You know, this picture is so much more than just a traffic jam. It's really a symbol of the massive challenge facing India's cities. The constant honking, the fumes, that feeling of just being trapped, it's a daily struggle. But you know what? It's also a huge motivator for change. India is on a mission to completely transform its urban landscapes, and it all starts by tackling the gridlock that's choking its cities.
535 million. Let that number sink in. That's more than the entire population of the United States. And all of those people are living in India's cities, generating almost 70% of the country's GDP while just trying to get around every single day. It is a recipe for chaos. And the old ways of doing things, focusing on private cars and overstressed public transport, they just can't handle this kind of demand.
For years, the solution to traffic seemed pretty obvious, right? Just build more roads, wider highways, more flyovers. But as India's cities have learned the hard way, you just can't pave your way out of this problem. In fact, building more roads often makes things worse. So let's look at why those old solutions failed and why a totally new approach is so desperately needed.
Think of it like this. If you loosen your belt after a big meal, you're not solving anything. You're just making room for more food. It's the exact same thing with roads. The concept is called induced demand. When you build a new highway, you're not actually fixing the traffic problem. You're just creating more space for cars. And just like with the belt, that space fills up almost instantly, leaving you with an even bigger, more expensive problem.
52,000. That is how many new private vehicles hit India's roads every single day. It's an absolutely staggering figure, and it's a powerful reminder of why that old approach of just building more and more is a dead end. We need a new vision for urban mobility, one that's not just about moving cars, but about moving people.
So what does a smarter foundation actually look like? Well, it's not about pouring more concrete. It's about using technology to make the infrastructure we already have work a whole lot better. It's about collecting data to really understand how people move, and then using that data to create a more efficient, responsive transportation system.
So way back in 2015, India launched this really ambitious program to transform 100 of its urban centers into smart cities. The whole idea was to use technology to improve basically everything, from traffic flow and public safety to water and energy management. Let's take a look at some of the actual results from this mission.
This table gives you a great sense of the progress made under the Smart Cities mission. But I want to draw your attention to one number in particular, over 84,000. That's how many new CCTV cameras have been installed, helping improve both public safety and traffic management. From citywide command centers to new public parks, this whole mission is laying the digital groundwork for a truly connected city.
And building on that smart foundation, the focus is now shifting to clean public transport. The PM-eBus Sewa scheme is a perfect example. It's a really clever program designed to get electric buses on the road faster by making them a more attractive investment for private companies. By guaranteeing payments and reducing the financial risk, the goal is to roll out over 38,000 e-buses. That's a huge step in the fight against urban air pollution.
Okay, now this is where things get really interesting. The future of transportation isn't just about new kinds of vehicles. It's about the software that connects them all. We are witnessing a fundamental shift, moving from a world focused on building physical things to a world focused on building digital platforms.
This slide just says it all, doesn't it? Bytes, not concrete. It perfectly captures the new mindset. It is not about building more roads. It's about using technology to make the roads we already have work smarter. By using data and artificial intelligence, cities can optimize traffic flow, cut down on congestion, and make the entire network dramatically more efficient without laying a single new kilometer of asphalt.
So how does this actually work? Well, a lot of it comes down to AI. By analyzing real-time traffic data, AI algorithms can actually predict where congestion is likely to happen and then automatically adjust traffic signals to keep things moving. It can also be used to enforce traffic laws, which, improves both safety and speed.
And we're not talking about small improvements here. A 35% reduction in delays in Singapore, that means people are spending less time stuck in traffic and more time with their families. That 65 million euros in social benefits in Stockholm proves that a more efficient system is also a more equitable one. And a one-third cut in travel delays in Los Angeles, that is a massive win for a city famous for its traffic.
This brings us to this big idea called mobility as a service, or MaaS. Basically, think of it like a single app that lets you plan, book, and pay for all your transportation. A metro ride, an e-rickshaw, a bike share, the whole shebang. And India is taking a really unique approach here, using the India Stack, the same public digital infrastructure that powered the UPI payments revolution, to build it out. This could be a true game changer.
The beauty of a system like this is that it gives people more choices. You're not just limited to a car or a bus anymore. You can mix and match different modes of transport to create the journey that's best for you. Maybe a fast bus for the long haul, and a quick bike taxi for that final last-mile connection. It's not only more convenient, it also helps reduce congestion and pollution.
You know, one of the biggest hurdles for electric vehicles has always been range anxiety, that fear you'll run out of power. But in cities like Chennai and Bengaluru, a really cool solution is popping up: battery swapping. Instead of waiting hours for your vehicle to charge, you just pull into a station, swap your empty battery for a full one, and you're on your way in minutes. It's making electric mobility a practical, everyday option for millions.
So, the future of urban mobility isn't just about what's happening on the ground. It's also about what could be happening in the air. In this next section, we're going to explore some of the seriously cutting-edge technologies that could completely redefine how we move around our cities. Okay, this is where things start to feel like sci-fi. We're talking about a new era of urban aviation, with electric-powered air taxis zipping between rooftops. I know, it sounds like something out of a movie, but the technology is developing incredibly fast, and India is already taking the first steps to create the regulations to make it a reality.
Of course, there are still some pretty big challenges to overcome before we're all hailing air taxis. We need to figure out how to manage the airspace, build completely new kinds of infrastructure, and, most importantly, we have to convince the public that this is a safe and reliable way to travel. But these are also exciting problems to solve, and they're being worked on right now.
And hey, if air taxis aren't futuristic enough for you, how about this? The Hyperloop. This is a radical new form of transport that uses magnetic levitation to shoot pods through a vacuum tube at speeds of over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Yeah, it's still very much in the experimental stage, but it gives you a real sense of the incredible ambition that's driving the future of mobility in India.
So, we've seen this amazing vision for the future of urban mobility in India. A future that is smart, electric, and just seamlessly connected. But what's it actually going to take to make this vision a reality? In this final section, let's look at the biggest challenges that are still on the road ahead.
There are really 4 key challenges to remember: connectivity, cost, consistency, and confidence. We have to solve that nagging last-mile connectivity problem. We need to make sure these new systems can actually pay for themselves in the long run. We need consistent rules across the whole country. And finally, we have to build public confidence and trust in these new technologies.
The potential here is genuinely transformative. We're not just talking about a better way to get around. We're talking about a better way to live, with cities that are cleaner, safer, and more inclusive for everyone. And states like Telangana are already showing us what's possible, really paving the way for a brighter future for all of India's cities.
So, is India on the verge of creating the world's most advanced urban mobility ecosystem? It's a bold question, for sure. But when you look at the unique combination of massive scale, incredible digital infrastructure, and this real willingness to leapfrog old tech, it is hard not to be optimistic. The future of transportation is being written right now, and it looks like India is holding the pen.
Imagine